Good day. This is the second video. I'm going to teach you how to do inference with purpose, your revision for your inference skills together with your purpose skills. Now, important notes first. Let's just get straight to it. In your inference purpose, your first line must have the BAM. Alright, the BAM. What is the BAM again? Well, you must write the word because. To answer as a reason, right? Write the word because. You must have your audience. For example, Singaporeans, the locals, the British, the Japanese. Who are they? Look at the provenance. Find out who the audience is. Next, you must have your strong action verb, whether it's convince, persuade, criticize, encourage, or any other action verb that is strong. All right, because you don't just tell things to people when you make a poster, right? You want to convince them of something, you want to persuade them of something, you want to criticize them of something, right? So make sure it's a strong action verb. Advertisements are never meant to just tell you something, they are meant to convince you of something, to persuade you of something. Lastly, write down your message. All right, the key opinion. To me, sometimes your message will be this. It will be the strong opinion about the issue. So go and find out what exactly is that strong opinion that the author is trying to bring across to his or her audience. Next, what is a good message? Now, a good message, just like what I said just now, it is a strong opinion, right? That the author wants to convince his audience of. Look at your message. Is it a strong opinion? Is it convincing? Is it about the issue, right? Is it related to the issue? Make sure it's related to the issue. Next, it must be clear. Clear, just like your inference, right? Make sure there's no room for open interpretation. If you say things like good, again, it's not accepted, good or bad, because things are open to interpretation. But if you say things like harsh, again, the Japanese treated the people very harshly. That's not open to interpretation, right? Harsh is harsh. Harsh is a negative tone. Harsh means uncomfortable. Harsh means cruel. Harsh means a lot of other things. Okay, so make sure you are clear, just like how you write your inference. Your opinion must be inferred. Again, it cannot be something that dropped from the sky. It must be something that is inside, that you read from the source. I mean, once you read the source already, it is something that's above the source but related to what you see in the evidence. Okay, so this one you just follow again, follow the inference techniques again. Make sure it is above the evidence, right? It is something one step higher, one level higher, a strong opinion that you infer about the topic. Finally, and this is very important, an opinion is not the action. It is not the action. What do I mean by action? So things like this, to support the Japanese. All right, you create a propaganda poster. Your message is not for the locals to support the Japanese. That is the action, right? This is the action. So therefore, it is not. It can be accepted, but it will be the lower level mark. So make sure you write your outcome at the end, right? Write your action at the end. At the start, you just need to write your BAM, BAAM, your message, which is your strong opinion. Moving on to your writing framework. Of course, the first line, this is a recommended framework. It's not the absolute framework that you have to follow, but this is just a simple guide so that you will not lose marks. All right. So BAM in the first line. The author made this because, right? Because he wants to. Then your A, action verb, convince. Convince who? Convince the locals. Then your audience, right? And then that maybe the Japanese are kind. Japanese are caring people. So a direct, strong opinion. Yes, they are caring, and this is a message. It's not an outcome. After that, do your simple inference skills again. What is the evidence? The source states, shows, quote it. Quote it down. If it's a text, if it's a picture, write down again everything you see in the picture. Next, explain it again. This implies suggests. Again, for your explanation, please go back to the inference skills again. Make sure it's clear. Make sure it's clear. and make sure I can see the strong causal links back to your opinion, right? Why is it that he has this opinion? Because the evidence would suggest all these causal links, right? Make sure it's clear, and again, ayao in your own words. Next, context. Now, next you write down as something was happening, right? In every single purpose question, there is a context, right? The reason people give ask you a reason they produce a poster or a picture, or it has a purpose, right? And to understand the purpose, you must know the context. Context, which is what is happening at the time. If possible, what are the unhappiness that led to the urgent need for the author's message? Normally, the author will want to portray something because of the context, because something is happening. So go and find out what is it. Look at the provenance, right? You have to look at the provenance. So for the standard case in the Japanese occupation, some of the standard context will be because the Japanese have just starting to rule Singapore. They don't have support from all the population yet, right? So they need to make this in order to convince the locals that Japanese are caring people. Okay. Finally, what is the outcome? Outcome meaning this is the one. What is the action? Action that you want your audience to take, right? Is it support the Japanese, obey the Japanese, support how, obey how? Be more specific, all right? So again, it's what the audience will do. Your action is at the end, right? So you're right. The Japanese hopes that the audience will do something, okay? So that is for your outcome. Again, when you see the source like this, for example, first thing you do, annotate, right? Annotate. All right. So what you see here, again, I see the doctor here. This is a POW camp. Highlight this is a POW camp. This is a Japanese newspaper. All right. Published in Singapore. So probably it will be biased to the Japanese. Just on what I see in the provenance, right? Here I see the doctor giving the health checkup. Okay, so action, health checkup. Then you look at this guy's face here. He looks a bit happy, right? So this is what I see here. Now, on the whole, if this is inside the Japanese newspaper meant for the local people, you would say that they are caring, right? I would say things like caring, or that the rule is beneficial, right? Overall, the tone of this picture is one of relatively positivity, that is beneficial, caring. Then when you explain, right, you will link all these things that you see here. The doctor taking care of the patients, right? So this shows care. Care in what sense? Taking care of them, taking care of their health, right? In the area of health, they are taking good care, right? Looking after the needs, looking after the needs. Okay, so this is the things that you write down in your explanation. So let's look at the answer here. The photograph was published because I write my because here, because the Japanese wanted to convince. Here's my action verb, the audience. Okay, they will ensure the well-being of the POWs will be well taken care of. So you see, I have a strong message here. This is the opinion of the person who took this picture, that the Japanese will actually take care of the POW. Can you see it's very specific, but yet it's not open to interpretation. Then after that, you write your evidence here. So your evidence is here, right? I'll give a plus here. A Japanese doctor at the POW camp taking care of them, suggesting that you will take care of the welfare. Again, this is just like the inference, right? When you make your explanation, make sure it's in your own words, and make sure it is extensions of the evidence, explanations of the picture, of the various elements of the picture, right? And the causal links. Again, going back to the causal links. How does this show that they're taken care of? Well, it shows that they look out for the welfare of the POWs, attending to their health if needed, right? And to show that they are well taken care of by the Japanese military within the camps. Yes? So now, what is the context of this picture? Why was there an urgent need to produce this picture? Well, the context is here. There were fears of military barbarism in occupied territories inside Japan. Alright, so due to all these fears, they need to come up with this picture quickly in order to allay these fears and tell you that actually the well-being of the POWs are being taken care of. Yes, and finally is your outcome. What do you want the local people to do? I want the local to hold the Japanese in high regard, support their rule. So basically is to obey them, to support them, and not to hold grudges against them, not to believe, right? To not believe in the negative reports. So there you have it, a perfectly written answer with the BAM evidence explained. Just to recap again, with the BAM in my first line, then my evidence, then my explanation, then my context, which is the presence of all these news of Japanese military barbarism, and finally my outcome. My outcome, what do I hope my people, my audience will do? Which is they will hold the Japanese in high regard, they will support their rule, they will not believe in all the negative reports that's coming out. Okay? Yes. So that in a nutshell is how you should do your purpose. This is one of the higher level skills, but the main thing I go back again is the writing framework. Please use BAM in the first line. Please write evidence. Please explain using the same techniques for your inference. Explain, give me the context, and finally give me the outcome. What is it that want the audience to do? All right, and just highlight again that your message is not an action. Okay, don't write the support their rule in the first line. Right? Why? Right? It should be the why. Why support their rule? Okay. So this is for your inference with purpose.